Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We will, anyone who is running a bit behind can jump in at any time. I promised that I would make today worth your while. So I'm going to do a quick introduction to myself, just so you know that I'm actually qualified to be having this chat, and I've got a bit of experience behind me. So my 3-second handshake is, my name is Rebecca Green. I run a team in Portland, Oregon. I've been in the business for 33 years. My team, we sell about 60 to 100 homes a year. I do also coach. I've coached about 212 to be exact, agents in different parts of the country. And I've recently launched a couple of digital courses as part of my training program. So that's just a bit about me. And I'm going to jump into best practices and email marketing. Hi, Katie. Okay.
Hi.
So I think the first thing is understanding why email marketing works. Email marketing has by far the best return on your investment. And I'm big on analyzing returns, right? Whatever we spend time or money doing, we want to know how well it's performing for us. So email marketing has a staggering 4,000% return on the investment. I'm not sure of any other marketing opportunity that yields those same results. I also love email marketing because it's the opportunity for targeted reach. If you segment your clients correctly or your contacts correctly, you can really personalize campaigns directed to those people, right? So it's a really targeted approach. And one thing that you'll hear me talk about in just a few, sending out postcards, for example, that are just listeds or just sold in particular communities. While it feels a little bit targeted because it's targeted to a specific community, the messaging isn't really targeted because we don't know those people. It's really blind. Whereas email marketing, if you get really specific with your segmentation, you can also get really specific with the messaging. I also love email marketing because it's measurable success. The analytics are amazing. Same example with a just listed card or a just sold postcard. There's really no way to track who threw them in the garbage can or if anyone visited your website. So I do like email marketing from the measure standpoint. And then scalable. It's also super scalable. You can have 5 people in your email list, on your email list. You can have 500 people on your email list. And many email marketing providers don't charge you any more money based on the number of people that you have. So it is really super scalable. So I like it for that reason as well. Okay, so benchmarks, it's when I talk about return on the investment, what should we be looking at? We should be looking at our deliverability. We should be looking at our open rate, our click-through rate, and then our conversion rate. So deliverability is how many emails actually went, delivered directly to somebody's inbox. Open rates is, of course, how many people opened it. And then anything that was clickable in the email, you want to have about a 4%. And then your conversion rate is going to be really what results did you yield from the email marketing efforts that you put out in the course of a month, a quarter, a year, however you want to look at it. And we're going to talk a little bit about all of these different metrics as I go through the course. Okay, best practices and setting yourself up for success in each one of these areas. So segmentation. Segmentation, properly categorizing your emails really does have an impact. It increases open rates by 30% and click-throughs by 50%, which is huge. And when I talk about segmentation, I'm going to give you some categories that I use as we get going, but the messaging that you're going to send, for example, to a buyer is going to be different than messaging that you would send to a seller. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they put all of those people in one bucket, and the messaging doesn't actually make sense to all of the readers. So segmentation is probably the number one thing that I work with agents that I coach on, really taking your list and being very, very specific and granular with who the people are. Next thing, deliverability. I'm going to share a funny story about deliverability in just a second. Sorry, I was checking a message there. Yes, Heidi, I will definitely send you the recording, no problem. So consistency is another big thing, right? Like anything in business, if we're going to do something, we really have to do it and be consistent with it in order to yield any kind of results. And then adjusting based on your data. One of the things I said a minute ago was email marketing has this amazing opportunity for us to get a bird's eye view into how users responded to our content. And there's not a lot of marketing, again, that allows us to do that, right? You could do a print ad, and we can't actually show up at everyone's doorstep to see if they saw the ad or liked the ad when they opened the magazine. It's one of the things that, again, really excites me about email marketing and why I've used it for so many years. But you also have to analyze the data, and then you have to make adjustments based on the data over time. And I'm going to show you what that looks like as well. Okay, so here's my funny story. So last night, I've been running email marketing campaigns for the better part of 15 years. I have worked with all different email delivery platforms. MailChimp, Flowdesk, Razora was a real estate related one, ActivePipe, you name it. I've at one point or another utilized those systems. I have absolutely never, ever been locked out of any of my systems until 7:01 last night. So how about at 7 o'clock at night, the night before you're doing a webinar about email best practices, and you get this message from Flowdesk. A recent email sent through your Flowdesk account resulted in higher than usual bounce and spam complaint rates. Full disclosure, there were no spam complaint rates. Spam complaints. There were a lot of bounces, and I know better. But getting that email last night, totally cracked me up. And I was like, that's the way it goes. When technology is great, it's great. And when it's not, you're scrambling at 7 o'clock the night before you're doing a presentation. So I really want to talk about bounce rates and why this is so important. So email providers and spam blockers, right, have really set out to make sure that we are people sending emails are not delivering spam, right? And when you have a bunch of emails in your list that have bounced and are not deliverable, it's a red flag. For me, I know exactly where that problem came, right? I sell real estate, of course. We have a lot of real estate agents that we communicate with on a regular basis. There's been a lot of movement with real estate agents. There have been mergers in our local market, and the emails have changed. So I have a bucket of contacts that I call bounced. And those bounced contacts are ones that I exclude all of my, when I send, I exclude that group. So, because I know better, right? Well, I made the mistake last night of sending the email out to everyone, reminding my group about the webinar this morning, and I forgot to exclude those bounced contacts. So that's why I got locked out of my own system at 7:01 last night. So let's talk about, let me go back to something real quick about the, oops, going in the wrong direction. Hang on. So deliverability and the bounce situation, there is a site called Zero Bounce. And Zero Bounce is ironically something I use all the time. I have not done it in the last 3 months. So that was why I got slapped on the wrist, slapped on the hand there. So Zero Bounce, you can run your email list through Zero Bounce, and Zero Bounce will send you back they'll categorize them. Here are what the emails that can be delivered. Here are bad email addresses. There are several different categories. It's, super easy to use. If you are interested in that, they are doing a discount right now, August 15 at the checkout. You'll get 15% off. It's not super expensive, but it sure is smart to utilize. So that is one nugget for you to take away already. Okay, so back to segmentation. Everyone is going to segment their contacts differently. At the end of the day, more individual groups are better than less, because when you're sending an email, you can stack different email groups together, but it's a little bit harder in most programs to exclude certain people. So I'm a big believer that it's better to have more buckets and be very, again, granular with them. So these are some of the buckets that I have. So I have active buyers and active sellers. As soon as we take a listing, they get moved into the active seller. As soon as our buyer becomes, signed and in the car, we put them in the active buyer. Why do I have those two things separated? Because one of the things that I like to send to my buyers would be updates on mortgage rates. And while that could be relevant to a seller because it's indicative of market conditions, I like to take that information and tweak it for the seller so it sounds like we're really speaking directly to them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mr. and Mr. Seller, we wanted to let you know that interest rates have dropped. We think this might increase the amount of showings, something along those lines. That wouldn't be relevant to a buyer. A buyer needs to know that interest rates are lower, and the interest rate, drop could mean a savings of $350 per month on every X amount of dollars. Past clients, that's an obvious one. Anyone that we've sold to, we want to drop into the past client bucket. What might not be as obvious is past clients out of area. So I have an out of area past clients bucket because at one point in my real estate career, I did a lot of events. I hosted a lot of, art events and wine tasting, and that was really a part of my strategy for my team. Sending an invite to a client who recently moved to Arkansas for a wine event in Lake Oswego, Oregon, is not relevant, right? And if we have all of our clients in one bucket as past clients, chances are the folks in Arkansas are getting the invite to the wine event in Lake Oswego, and chances are it's going to mean they're thinking about unsubscribing, right? Because what you're sending to them isn't relevant, and they're like, oh, yeah, we live in Arkansas now. We don't need Rebecca or her team. So click, we're going to unsubscribe. But if you keep your past clients in an out of area bucket, there are things that are relevant for them. I'm going to share with you a piece that I sent out about the NAR settlement changes and how that's going to affect the way commissions are handled. I sent that to all of my out of area clients, and I actually got 5 or 6 responses. Just, hey, nice to hear from you. This was great information. My local realtor here didn't send that. Or, hey, nice to see you guys are still active and busy. Like just random small messages. You never know. I've actually had clients that have left and come back. So it's good to keep in touch with them, but not email them as much as you email everyone else. And if you don't have them segmented, that's not possible. So then the other ones that might not be obvious, buyer prospects and seller prospects. So buyer prospects are people who maybe I meet somebody on the team has met at an open house, or a buyer prospect could be somebody that has ended up in one of my funnels or one of my drip campaigns, which we'll talk about shortly. I'm going to send them very specific messages. My seller prospects are ones where, hi, Rebecca, it's Joe. I'd love for you to come over and look at our house. We're thinking about selling. We might not sell for a year. I want to send specific things to that seller, even though they're not thinking of selling for a year after the appointment. And those could be things like the NAR settlement and commission. How did that affect them, right? And I'm just changing. I'm really big on creating once and reusing 5, 10, 20, as many times as possible. So the seller prospect, I might take the piece and just change the first couple of sentences. I know you're getting ready to sell, sometime in the future, or I know you're not ready to sell today, but this is information that's probably going to apply to you whenever you do sell. So what's nice about those kinds of communications, it's so much better than the text message, hey, just checking in, or the email, hey, wondering if you've got dates in mind, right? You're literally saying that by sending something that isn't that message, right? Because you're like, hi, I'm still over here and I'm still really good at my job and I'm really great at educating my people. And so call me when you're ready, but you're not continuing to send, hey, just following up. Then local agents, that's another one. I often see agents sending out their monthly newsletter to other agents. And in some situations, like if you're the owner of a company or if you're a recruiter for a company, I get that, right? But I don't want to get 78 of the same newsletters from any one company and the agents that work there, right? As another agent, I don't want that. And I don't even think they realize they're doing it. So keep your local agents in a different bucket, because marketing to the local agents is so smart. And we're going to talk about that as well, but you want to keep those separate. And then the other group that I had here is really, I put neighborhood, HOA. You should have a group that's really like your social network. You should have a group that is, I have one coaching client who is really active in her kids' sports. She actually sells a lot of properties to people in that group. That's a totally different bucket in her email marketing platform. So, if you are on the PTA, the PTO, if you're the soccer coach, like any kind of very, again, granular community groups, those should be separated as well. Events, if you host events locally, nice to have those people in one little segment, because maybe you're hosting, I don't know, a neighborhood Halloween party, and everyone in your soccer group would be great for being in attendance, right? But maybe you're not going to invite you're definitely not going to invite your past clients that are out of area, but maybe you're not going to invite any of your past clients or all of your past clients because they're not in the neighborhood or they don't have kids, whatever it might be. So just think, keep that in mind when you're segmenting, and spend time really, doing that before you launch into doing a lot of email marketing. That would definitely be a first step. Okay, enough on that. Let's talk about storytelling and context and your content, right? So repurposing content, I've already said that. Creating a compelling story, creating some sort of compelling content, and then reusing it across multiple platforms is another thing that I love so much about email marketing. It's kind of like the big story can be 28 different little stories and 28 different uses. I'm going to share with you one of the things that I push out a lot is my buyer's guide and my seller's guide. And this is content where I'm utilizing it inside of my email marketing. I'm also utilizing bits and pieces and snippets out of it for drip campaigns. And I'm utilizing it for funnel marketing as well, which we'll get to. So, again, the heavy lift was creating the buyer's guide. The not so heavy lift was cutting bits and pieces out of it. Brokerage information is great to share. Testimonials are great to share. This is a piece on interest rates and what it meant for somebody who said, I want to wait to buy. That's great content that you could utilize in other places. So I do encourage you to, think about reuse. Keep everything useful. That'd be the next bucket here. You want to capture somebody's attention. Email is, they say that a crazy percentage of our day is spent in email management. And I totally believe that. There are days where I get, 300 emails. I just looked over at my inbox. I have 198 emails right now, and I'm super good at deleting and moving and getting things read. So that's just between this morning and a bit of, leftovers from yesterday. So make your information useful. You want people to want to read it. And I have really found that short, useful bits of information are yielding some of the best results. So one of the things that was crazy, I think I had like a 92% open rate on an email piece about a new restaurant. And I took a picture of dinner. I put it into the email marketing piece. I gave a shout out to the owners who I had met that night. Put all of the information about the local restaurant, sent it to my whole sphere and said, this, if you haven't been out for dinner for a while, this is a great place to go. If you've not tried the new restaurant, click here. And it was a crazy response too. I got all sorts of messages back from people, text messages. We ate there on Tuesday. It was great, small, easy to create, but super useful and something that'll grab somebody's attention. I also believe firmly in mixing things up, right? You don't want it to be all real estate related. You want some of it to be community related. You don't want it all to be fluff, right? Because that gets old quickly. You want to make sure that you can grab somebody's attention. So another thing is knowing your audience. So this is a big one. This is a hot button for me, actually. Know your audience. If you're a real estate agent and you're sending a just listed or a just sold or any kind of email to other real estate agents, we want all the details on the property. If on Friday, I might get, 30 to 40 emails with, hey, I just listed this house. We have an open house. Here's the address. Great. No information on price. No information on bedrooms and baths, no ability to click a link to get that information. I'm just annoyed and I'm deleting it. I'm not continuing to read it, right? And the value in sending an email marketing piece out to other agents is because you want to know if they have a buyer for that property, right? You also should be thinking about the click-throughs on it and the open rates because you want to be able to share that with your client. Sellers. I sent an email marketing piece out to 1,400 local real estate agents. We had 485 clicks on your property to view more information. I'm only viewing more information. I know there is a bit of, sometimes the pushback I get from agents that I coach is, well, if I put all the information, they're not going to click to get more information. Totally get that. But we're real estate agents, right? We just need to know if it works for somebody. We don't want to go look it up. So know your audience. I think that's super important. And in some situations, gatekeeping is a really bad idea. So educate and inform. People love education and information. Buyers, part of our drip campaign and strategy for buyers is, the lead up to actually getting to a contract and all these different phases. And, so they know what to expect when we get there, setting expectations. Email marketing is great for that as well. We do a drip campaign for people that are in contract even, and people, so that we can say, here's what to expect from your home inspection. And those are things that are set up on automation, which is another great part of email marketing. So you want to educate and you want to inform. Along those lines, here is a piece that I did. Let's see if it opens. Oh, it does, because I got locked out of that system, remember? So this is a piece I did for real estate commission changes. You know, here's the overhaul, here's what's going on. Great education component here. You'll see in anything that I share with you from an email, I try and link is in as many places as what is relevant to the content. Going back to the real estate agent emails that come out, you should definitely, if you're sending those out and you can link, you should link every photo. Link every photo to more information, or link every photo to the listing on your website. Be careful about not sending it to the company website because you're losing traffic that way, if at all possible, and you have your own website, send it to your own website. But people really do like to click photos, and photos yield in many of my email marketing pieces, photos actually yield the highest click rates. So that's another tidbit. But I try and link wherever I can, because the idea of email marketing is you want to keep people in the funnel, or you want to keep them on the journey, which, going back to one of, another reason I love email marketing so much is because it's not a dead end. A magazine, for example, print advertising, and I've done lots of print advertising, so I'm not knocking it I'm not totally knocking it, but it is dead end, right? You make the ad, you put the ad in the magazine, it gets delivered to the house. Hopefully people see it. You have no idea if people have read it. You have no idea if they like it, unless, of course, they send you an email or they pick up the phone and call. But it's a dead end, because that magazine then ends up in the garbage or in their recycling. Email marketing, you want to keep people on a journey, and it doesn't really have to be a dead end. And I do often see information emails like this the commission changes. I actually see, I can track when clients go in and they click on things or reread things. And in this situation, I had quite a few folks that popped back into it, 5-6 days after it went out. So, okay, so educate and inform, context, building connections, really sharing your own stories and humanizing who you are to create connections is a really good idea as well. An agent that I know in town, we had a conversation about email marketing not too long ago. She shared that it's a team, they started rotating each month, where somebody on the team would tell something personal, like that would be the intro. Hi, it's Sarah, here's what's going on, in our world. We finished our renovation, whatever it might be. They saw a 33% increase in their open rates, and they saw a 20% increase in their click-throughs. So those numbers are pretty big. So I think, being personal is important. And I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to offend anyone. Literally no one got up on Easter Sunday and thought that they needed to get a happy Easter email from their real estate agent. I just don't believe that to be true. 15 years ago, when email marketing was new and we weren't bombarded with so many emails, totally makes sense. There are agents on this call right now I know that I worked with 12 years ago when I was running the marketing and business development for a major luxury brand. And we did that, but that was 15 years ago. So we need to make adjustments and be more current. So, keep that in mind. Check your open rates. I don't know, maybe you get lots of opens on those. But I think you could actually save the attention span of your client and send them stuff that is really in that educate and inform bucket before we go the route of holiday greetings. Okay, so this is the next thing that most people say to me after I've said all of that. Rebecca, I hate writing. I absolutely hate it. I don't want to do it. How can I actually manage this? So a couple of tips. First of all, I think it's important to write somewhere where you can grab that content and reuse it elsewhere. I happen to use Notion for that, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I keep all of my content in a bit of a spreadsheet, and I can open, I can open each one of these. Oh, that wasn't a good one. I can open each one of these to actually get the text and copy and paste it to use it other places. So instead of creating it inside your email marketing platform, right, like here, I think it's better to keep it somewhere that you can easily pull from and use, in social media, use for, drip campaigns or quick, emails out to your client base. Another tip here is subjectline.com. Subjectline.com is super cool. You can put an idea in here and it will evaluate it for you. So best email marketing practices webinar. Oops. So I got an 82 out of 100 score for that. And they are giving you tips right here. So they give you tips about what to change in it. And then if you go down, they also give you ideas to use instead of what you started with. So how are they doing this? Why does this work? Why does this matter? Well, they are using AI and they are searching SEO terms. And this particular site is super email marketing centric. So I do like dropping things in there just to get examples of what might be better than my original idea. So that's another quick tip for you. Okay, so random daily ideas. I'm not suggesting that you do email marketing daily, but things that wouldn't fall into like a monthly or a bi-monthly or a bigger piece would be things like new coffee shops or new restaurants, things that you just come to mind. Something that you might text a girlfriend to say, hey, this was a great coffee shop. We should go next time. Think about how you could make that into an email marketing piece and send it to your sphere. An invite for an event, that's going to be random. Doesn't require a lot of writing. Basically, hi, join me. I'll be here at this day and time. Pretty easy to, write that content. Interest rate drops. Utilize your lender and information that they send to you and copy and paste. Buyer or seller guide intro. The easy email on that is, it was so nice to meet you. I wanted to provide you with some additional information. Click here to view our buyer's guide. Also something that you can write once, save it and use it as an email template over and over again. You could also do vendor spotlights. Those are pretty easy ones. My clients love it when I send them things like, I met a new window cleaner today. They did a really great job, and you can drop other information into them that is also great marketing, right? They did a great job at 123 Main Street. By the way, I just put that on the market. It is not in your neighborhood, but if you know of anyone, let me know. It is listed at, it's a 3.2 and it's listed at 985. Whatever, right? You're actually double dipping on your marketing there because you're promoting a listing, but it's tied in nicely because you're actually telling your folks about window washers. And, the concept there is that you're like, hey, I'm over here, I'm active, I'm good at my job, I'm, active in the community, don't forget about me. So keep that in mind when you start your journey on email marketing as well, or when you implement some changes. So bigger pieces like regular monthly or bi-monthly ideas, those would be newsletters, market reports, team updates, investment tips, or hot properties that you know of. Those are good for, keeping in mind for like a regular monthly piece. And then the bigger ones would be, occasional things that you would write. Maybe you've gone on vacation, you stayed in a really cool vacation rental, Why is that good to send to your clients? Because it is house oriented and we do sell houses and people like to look at great real estate. So my folks really love those ones. And then, quarterly property valuations. How is your investment in the home that you purchased doing? That would be a bigger one, a little bit of a heavier lift. Industry changes could be a heavier lift. And then new development. So if you sell in newer communities, my folks in newer communities love hearing about other newer communities or expansion in their own community. So that's something that I might randomly send, as an occasional piece. But I'm still going to give you another way to get ideas. And it is AI, it is Chat GPT. It makes a lot of people cringe, but I'm going to caveat with, I definitely don't think you should be using Chat GPT to write for you because that will not come off as authentic in any way. However, Chat GPT is a great resource for getting ideas. And I'll share this in a follow-up email so you don't have to worry about taking notes. But here is a prompt that I sent to ChatGPT and the response. So I said, act like a real estate expert. I'm looking to create impactful email marketing pieces that resonate with my existing clients and makes them feel identified and relevant to me. My goal is to be a real estate advisor and build trust with my clients. I want to help my clients make more out of their real estate investments. I'm not interested in sending generic, and I made a spelling mistake there, and ChatGPT is fine with that, which I'm really grateful for because I do that often. I'm not interested in sending generic holiday emails. Make a list of content in table format for my content pillars, and then give them your 3 pillars. I just picked 3 pillars for this example. Pillar 1 is real estate investment strategies. Pillar number 2, Portland Metro real estate market updates. Pillar number 3 is local Portland and Lake Oswego area business spotlights. For each topic, identify at least 10 ideas of the following. Makes them mistakes they make, so mistakes that our clients make, right? Beliefs they have, commonly asked questions, challenges they face, and outcomes they can expect to desire. So I want ChatGPT to give me a table of content that I can pull from when I am looking to create my email marketing pieces. And this is what it delivered. And it's not the whole thing because obviously you see the network error there. But real estate investment strategies, mistakes they made, over leveraging or not diversifying investments. As a broker of 33 years, I think that's pretty accurate. Other failures or other beliefs they have, flipping houses is always a quick way to profit. That'd be a great email marketing piece to address because that is not true. That is not the case. So ChatGPT can be a really good source for getting your creative juices flowing. It can also be a really good source for giving you a list of really pretty specific content in whatever pillars you decide to use. So I would encourage you to give ChatGPT or any other AI program that you use, a chance to help you out there. Okay. These are also a few more practical tips on best days to send and times. And is that really important? Does it matter? It totally makes a difference. Best days to send agents things. I have found in my own email marketing that early Saturday mornings increased my just listed and my open house announcements from 27% to 40 to 50% pretty consistently. Fridays are the worst days, in my opinion, to send the, hey, we have a new listing. If you check your inbox, you're getting flooded with those as well. Check your stats though. Maybe your responses are different on different days and times than mine. But try to make a few adjustments and see what happens. Best days to send clients. Across the board, if you were to Google it, you're going to see Tuesdays and Thursdays for some reason are the best days for email marketing pieces from an open rate, from an engagement standpoint. My own data shows that Thursday's the best day. So I try and teeter between, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for my send days based on, analyzing reports from, the last 10, 12, 15 years. Okay, best times of the day. I think statistically it says 11 a.m. is a great time to send. For my own people, I've always found that if I send something before 7 a.m., I have higher open rates. And then bad times to send, I think I mentioned, anytime on Friday is data that I've pulled from my own marketing and my team's marketing, but also things that I've read over the years. And I do believe it to be true. I know on Friday, I'm trying to get through emails as quickly as possible. So I might delete things on Fridays that maybe on a Tuesday I might look at. So that hopefully is a bit of practical advice that you can easily use. Okay, let's talk automation real quick. Automation and workflows. I believe if you're using an email marketing platform, it really has to have an option for a workflow. And this is a bigger, deeper dive conversation. Shoot me a message if you're interested in having it, but I do want to cover the basics. Almost anything can be set up in a workflow. And what do I mean by workflow? So I mean, somebody has sent you an email from your website and they've said, I'm interested in selling a house. Getting that email into your email marketing platform and having it trigger an automatic message send is something that can be set up to be seamless where you don't have to manually do any work. So for me, if I have a seller lead on my website, the funnel starts with, thanks so much for reaching out. Please click here to view our seller's guide. It'll give you a little bit of information about myself and my team and what you can expect from working with us. And it gives them, easy access to more information about us so that we have time to, respond to them personally. The flows can be very simple. And they can be 1 or 2 actions. They can be 5, 6, 10, 12 actions. For example, with cold leads from digital advertising that I do for buyers, I have them set up on a 12-step drip campaign. But automation and being able to create that workflow in your email marketing platform is, to me, it's a must-have feature. I mentioned I've used lots of different campaigns, lots of different programs. I really do like Flowdesk. If you're interested in that, I think I included a link where you can get 50% off. And they have really easy to use automation flows. Okay, QR codes. This is also a fun one. QR codes and how we use QR codes to actually create email marketing. Sometimes I say QR codes and email marketing together and people say, well, what do they have to do? What does one have to do with the other? QR codes are a great way to capture people's details and get them into a journey of good content that is relevant to whatever they're looking for. So, business cards, open house signs, yard signs, buyer and seller guide delivery, property flyers, those can all be created. Those can all begin with a QR code. Those automation journeys are pretty easy to set up. And I'm going to show you some Canva examples. So Canva, incidentally, if you didn't know, okay, there we go. Canva actually does have a QR code generator. So you can add a QR code element. You can actually create it in Canva, add the email address that add the URL address that you'd like users to go to when they scan that. and it's something you can do in 5 minutes. So here are just a couple of examples that I mentioned. How could we use QR codes for increasing our exposure through email marketing? Business cards. I think business cards are a great idea for QR codes. You could send somebody to your website. You could send somebody to a search on, in your area. So a property alert search, something like this. Perhaps I only worked in Lake Oswego and I wanted anyone who clicked a certain QR code to go right to knowing what was going on in the Lake Oswego market. You could link to something like this. Business cards are one idea. This is actually one of my favorite things. Welcome, we're open, and a QR code that goes to a link for more information on the property, or a link for, again, to your website, a little bit more information about yourself and your team. You can make yard signs pretty easily in Canva with QR codes. And there are a couple that I've utilized and had great results with. Welcome, we're open. Or you could say on this, welcome, will be open on Saturday, or will be open on Sunday. Click here for more information. When somebody clicks that URL code, you can actually set it up where you capture their email address first. And that way you are continuing to, again, get them through the drip campaign and the funnel, and you have direct contact with a potential buyer. I also like this one. Welcome for more information. So this is a plaque that we have inside of a home when we do an open house. I'm kind of going away from print material. I think as an industry, we've killed too many trees. And so I have limited flyers in a lot of properties, definitely limited the number of flyers that we include in properties. And I've gone to a QR code method, which I love, and people love too, because they don't have to take the paper and they don't have to worry about what happened to it, and they don't have to pick it up in the backseat of their car, right? They can click a QR code and all of the information about the property is there. Single property websites are a great place to link people to, or perhaps your photographer has a portal and they create a landing page for you with the pertinent information and all of the photos and the videos. That's another great place to send people. So this last one is my favorite, and believe it or not, one that I've gotten a ton of traffic out of. So this is a yard sign that goes in front of listings, and it says, does being a homeowner interest you, but you're not sure where to start? We can help. A buyer clicks that QR code. We send them a message that says, thank you so much. We love that you're interested in becoming a homeowner. And then we send them a little bit of a message about when they can expect to hear from us. We link them to a Q&A so we can get a little bit more information from them. And then the next step is they get a copy of our buyer's guide. So this is a great lead generation source, and it is way cheaper than Zillow because these signs cost, I don't know, $43.65 to print, and they're on nice cardstock, and you can stick them right in the front yard of your listings. So let's see what else I have here. So this is an example of a QR code flyer that would be inside of a listing instead of a stack of print flyers. And it's obviously pretty simple. Love this home. We do photos and then the QR code. And again, have had great response from that one as well. Okay, let's see. Does anyone have any questions? I have not been paying attention to the comments, so I apologize. Okay, any questions, just go ahead and pop them in. Here are some time-saving hacks. Email scheduling. Let's say you don't want to use an email marketing platform because you're not interested in, designed pieces. You want to stick just with text. And I have to say that actually from a deliverability standpoint is by far the best. It is by far the best deliverability of all types of email marketing pieces that you can send. The ones that are direct through your Gmail, Outlook, whoever your email provider is. So there is validity in not going with something designed and sticking with just text. But it's a little awkward to continue to add the BCCs in your email platform. So I know Gmail, for example, has a mail merge feature, and I'll include instructions in a tutorial for that when I follow up with everybody. But Gmail, you can actually send out bulk messages that are just text-based. So if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely look at some solutions for whatever email provider you are currently using. Canva, of course, we went over. Canva is great for creating designs, great for creating QR codes. Zapier, I'm not sure how you say that. We lived in France for a lot of years. Technically, it's Zapier, but I don't think that's the way they say it in the US. So I just tend to refer to those as the Zaps. This platform lets you collect emails from almost anywhere and drop them somewhere else. Excuse me. Excuse me. So for example, when I get a user that clicks a digital ad, a Facebook or an Instagram ad, and they leave their email address, I have a Zap set up where that email address drops into a certain segment inside of my Flowdesk account. And if it's a buyer ad that I'm running, and that it's obvious that they've clicked and left me their information because they're interested in buying, they go into Flowdesk, and then Flowdesk automatically spits out an email that takes them to our buyer's guide. So they automatically can receive a copy of this, which I talked about creating once and using as many different ways as possible. So I do love Zaps. And then productivity tools, Notion. I did talk to you about Notion. Technology is great until it's not. You've already heard me say that as well. I like being able to go one place to copy and paste instead of having to figure out, oh, was that a social media post? Was that something I did in an email marketing platform? I'm thinking I want to reuse it. So Notion, again, is where I keep track of all of the different pieces of content, and I can easily search, which I love. I can search up here, almost, any keyword. Buyer fatigue. So it'll show up, I can click into it, and there's my piece of content that I could copy and paste and use elsewhere. So Notion's another good one. From a productivity standpoint, you could also use Dropbox Paper, you could use Google Docs, a number of quick and easy, whatever you're already using, I think is what you continue with, unless you're looking to implement a new system. Okay, so to wrap it up, what is hot and what's not in email marketing? Creating and leveraging lead magnets for sure is one of the best parts about an effective email marketing strategy. Optimizing engagement with links. Don't forget, people like to click pictures. It's like a picture book for little kids. They want to be able to get somewhere else. So as many clicks as you can, as many links as you can add into your email marketing will increase your engagement, and you'll be able to see those stats rise, which also is a good opportunity to pat yourself on the back. Share worthy content. Ultimately, you not only want to provide content that is relevant for the different buckets, but wouldn't it be great if those folks actually shared content? I've definitely gotten buyers and sellers from my past clients because they've taken a piece of content that I sent to them. They shared it with their neighbor, or their pastor was one, and said, oh, by the way, this is Rebecca. I wanted to introduce you. She was our real estate agent. We loved working with her. We know you're getting ready to sell your house. We wanted you to meet. And so you also want to think about, share worthy content. So what is not really great is holiday greetings and gatekeeping information, because I don't know, back in the day, we were the gatekeepers of information 30 some years ago. Information is everywhere. You should be thinking about sending emails to folks that have everything right there, super easy for them to get to. But also keep in mind that things are not perfect. For example, the story I shared at the beginning of this presentation about getting locked out of my own email marketing platform at 7 o'clock last night, it actually meant that registration for the webinar, the links were broken. I was, however, able to go in and see who had clicked those links and email them directly to say, gosh, I'm so sorry that there was a mix-up. Can't believe that happened. Please still feel free to join us at 9 o'clock this morning. So that's the power of the analytics as well. But, don't beat yourself up. Technology can sometimes be glitchy. If you forget something in your email, it's totally okay to send another message back to say, oops, totally forgot. Here you go. I think people recognize that even in this modern day with all of these technological advances, we're all still human. So that's what I have to share with you all today on email marketing. I would love to answer any specific questions that anyone has. If you shoot me a message, I can take you off mute, or you can take yourself off mute, and we can dive into any particular programs. But I'm here for you if you need or would like any more information about anything that I shared.
I don't have any questions, Rebecca. This was great. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. See you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, well, I will say thank you for attending. Hopefully that all was useful for you, and hopefully you grabbed a couple of tidbits that you can take away and use in your own email marketing campaigns. I can be reached anytime if you have any further questions, and I will follow up with links as well as some of the content that I shared, and then also a recording. Thanks, everybody.